Hey, this is the antisocial socialite back at it again. Thanks so much for everybody who is tuning in or who will tune in. If you are new to the channel, you have not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. So when I get to running this mouth, baby, you are in the loop. You see the title, you know what time it is. Jaguar Wright spilling some tea, as it were. and yeah, what she said, I'll be honest with you, I don't really remember her. I don't really remember her name, but what group was she in? I can't even remember now. There's a group that she was in, like obviously a while back, and she's out here talking about the music industry. Now, the music industry, how do I feel about it? It's a shame that I don't even know. I don't even know where to begin. What I will say is this: what a lot of people need to realize is that when it comes on to, for example, the gospel music scene and the secular music scene, they are run by the same people. So, um, as much as I like, I do like gospel music. I'll be honest with you, I listen to music like periodically. There are times when I listen to a lot of music, and then I just don't listen to music for ages, you know, because the lyrics, the mind control, the whole just everything about the industry and what it promotes. For a long time, I haven't really been somebody who I tried to get into it when I was a kid, but I never really was somebody who idolized celebrities in a serious manner, simply because I just, I don't know why. There was something about following somebody else I didn't really fancy. So I wasn't somebody who was buying all the albums. I think it's partly because just financially it just wasn't viable to do that. Um, I wasn't in a financial position to buy albums and go to concerts and get merch or buy, back in the day it would be tapes or CDs or whatever. So I didn't really have an opportunity to get into groups and things like that. We didn't have music TV at home. I used to watch it at friends' home, but I wasn't watching it in my own home. So again, I wasn't really caught up. And there were a lot of interesting things about the music industry that I liked, but there was always something about the whole industry that was just, I don't know what to say. So fast forward to about 2008, 2009, that's when I really started getting into the idea of conspiracy theories. And I know I was like consuming a lot of quote unquote conspiracy theory content. And conspiracy theories are plausible because the pieces do seem to fit together. Not everything is true. Some of it is just maybe a stretch or conjecture, like the whole Kardashian curse, them being witches. And the reason why people have this kind of reservation, even me myself, is because Hollywood has sold us a number about what a witch looks like. A witch is not somebody who's literally just got a wart filled nose and, has a cat. I actually have been to the home of somebody who was a witch. I was doing a residential campaign, and when the lady opened the door, when the lady opened the door, she had on a pin that was a circle. And for anyone who knows about a little bit about the occult, people do spells within circles because that heightens the strength of the spell. So I looked at the pin and I happened to look past her while she's standing in the door. And there was literally like the broom that you see stereotypically witches flying on the wall. And I looked at the broom and I looked at her and I looked at the pin and I looked at this broom and I was like, I don't know. I probably said something like, I think I've got the wrong house. And it's like, yeah, oh my God. One time I was in a public bathroom and this woman, I'm washing my hands, just minding my own business. This woman starts talking to me and she's like, yeah, I'm a white witch. I was like, what's race got to do with this? I'm joking. That wasn't that, it was a white witch. These people who are into the occult, they really believe that you can use good magic and there's such a thing as good magic to counteract bad magic. Now, once upon a time, a lot of people would have been like, You know, you're just reaching, you're just a religious fanatic, you just hate everything that's not in the Bible, blah, 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 blah. But nowadays, the occult has become more popular. I think Wicca is one of the fastest growing religions or belief systems that we have to date. More and more millennials are identifying as Wiccans or New Agers than, many people even joining organized religion, or not organized religion, but like Judeo-Christian or Orthodox religion. So, you guys are not listening to me. So this Jaguar Wright thing, I don't, like I said, I can't remember. I was watching a video and it was telling me which group she was in. She was just talking about it. I'm not even going to prolong it. Let's just watch the little bit of the video. I'm going to play it, but I'm not going to show it because I don't want another copyright notification. But what she said is very interesting. What caught my attention was the fact that she talks about Tevin Campbell, Mr. Can We Talk, allegedly ending up as a prostitute on Hollywood Boulevard. And I already discussed in one of my other videos the video regarding what's her name? The one who just got famous doing 1 million a day in OnlyFans. How she had the little bunny ears, and how there's a industry of pedophilia within Hollywood. And a lot of people have come out and said things. You have to wonder how much of it is just them piggybacking on conspiracy for clout. But definitely there's rumors that something happened to everybody. P. Diddy was outed a long time ago as people allegedly walking in on him doing questionable things while on yachts, busting open room doors and finding him in there with a few too many brothers. We've seen a lot of images of rappers kissing each other, a lot of questionable lyrics and behaviors, a lot of people exposing people. Who was it? Was it Jaguar Wright allegedly saying that Mary J. Blige is also in, some kind of triangle, but the other people in the triangle are not male? It's just a mess, and it doesn't surprise me. The whole thing with what's that rapper's name? The one who was riding the horse in the pink. What was his name? Let me just Google it because I don't know these people's names. But when I saw that, I knew the end was nigh. The end was for real nigh. What should I put? Cowboy? Horse? Oh my God. Gay rapper, love and hip hop. No, that's not the one I want. The fact that it gives me like just a name and then there's so many options to choose from is already an issue in itself. What should I put? Cowboy? Because I just can't get the image. Oh, Little Nas X. Okay. I'm not hating on anybody who's part of the alternative lifestyle. Hey, my friends, what's good? Complex. Hello, my love. I'm not hating on anybody who's in that lifestyle, okay? But I don't know how to word this now. I'm not hating on anyone that's in that lifestyle. Just like people who make content on YouTube, you have the right to make the content you want. I have the right not to watch it. Let me just leave it there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close the image, but I'm going to play the video because there was some interesting stuff in here. Okay, Judy Garland. I told you already in the video about, Emily Thorne, whatever her name is, that Judy Garland allegedly says that when the children on the set were punished, they would be placed inside a black box. And in the black box was just a little tiny window, and there would be a block of ice in there. And the children would literally be shut in this dark box as a form of punishment. This is obviously psychological punishment. It's also a type of ritual abuse. The black box in and of itself has symbolism. I'm in the process of working on the breakdown of what what I personally think some of the imagery in that video is about. And that, to me, there is black box symbolism. For those who don't know, the black cube theory or the black box theory is related to the planet Saturn, because in ancient cultures, Saturn was believed to be the furthest planet from the sun. Therefore, it would be the coldest. So if the sun was God and good, the furthest planet from the sun would represent Satan. And on the top part of Saturn is like where the cloud forms, there's a gap in the cloud, and it makes a hexagon shape. Now, if you were to draw a cube on a piece of paper, the outline of that shape would be also a hexagon. So hexagons or cubes represent Saturn, and Saturn represents Satan. So Judy Garland being placed in a black box, that caught my attention. Now, with this whole thing with Tevin Campbell, people will be surprised how many people in the music industry or in the acting world actually started out as escorts. That's how they were discovered. And for those who don't make it, or who, after they've had their time, their careers go stale, they go into escorting. That's personally what I believe happened with Janet Jackson. That's what I also personally believe happened with Rihanna and all of these princes. And one of the videos that I did watch was about the Sultan of Brunei and a lady coming forward. Again, we don't know how truthful these people are. Are they being paid just to concoct a story? We don't know. But the idea, especially with Jeffrey Epstein being discovered as somebody allegedly truly having a secret island and shuttling in underage girls, it kind of makes people have to wonder, the conspiracy theories, is there any validity to them? Now, what Jaguar Wright is going to say is not news. The concept of being, you've got three options. You take somebody out, you nominate them, and we will put a hit out on them, either physically or spiritually. We will get demons on them, and those demons will drive people to execute somebody that's close to you. That's how you can get into the industry. You put on the dress if you're a man, or you just engage in some debased behavior. So the idea that Tevin Campbell had a drug problem, and it's the stereotypical or the typical case of the good guy gone bad. He started out in the choir, he started out in the church. His mother pushed him because of his voice to go into singing. He got discovered by Quincy Jones. A lot of people have said Quincy is not a nice person. And so the fact that he then later on is having his sexuality questioned, and also a drug addiction and a lot of issues, and also him being blackballed after he kind of fell off a little bit. It's all consistent with what people have been saying about the music industry and the gay mafia that runs it for a long time. And is it a gay mafia, or is it a Luciferian mafia? The reason why I picked this is because a lot of people remember the song I Want to Sex You Up by Color Me Bad. And allegedly, the lead singer of Color Me Bad came out and said that when they would record tracks, they would engage in devil parties, that the people would smoke, they would drink, they would get high, and they would have orgies, and they would use that energy to channel it into songs. And when Jaguar Wright started talking about what she experienced as an artist, she was like, you would go into your travel, the RV or whatever, or where you were staying, and like you would have to walk through people engaging in sex acts, the wild parties, the drinks, the drugs. I mean, there's a reason why they call it sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's because it's not just about partying to have fun. It's about actually channeling spirits, because for those who believe in the scripture, pharmakia is the use of narcotics, it's the use of drugs, whether legal or illegal, even alcohol, to change your mental state so that your body can be overtaken by another spirit. Maybe that's why the stronger drinks are called spirits. So Tevin Campbell said that when they made the song I Want to Sex You Up, after the master is made, these songs get taken to a place where they're kind of satanically blessed, and they embed demons into the track. And at the time, most people lost their virginity to that song. And he claims it's because when the people listen to these songs, the spirit that's in the track gets released into the people's minds. And as a result of that, they then start acting it out. So let's play what Jaguar Wright has to say. And
female entertainer or artist trying to do music,
video
right?
is courtesy
What would be
of
your advice to them? You know,
Real Life Productions. Shout out to you.
For it. I would never wish this career on any woman. There's only 3 different kinds of careers in this world where a woman's safety and respect for her body are totally disregarded. Strippers, sex workers, and female entertainers.
A stripper is a sex worker. I'm just saying.
We are treated no different than prostitutes.
You're not different
because we're
from a
entertainers.
prostitute. Oh yeah,
Well, that's what the word actress used to mean back in the 1800s. It meant prostitute. We're the meat. Judy Garland used to say it best. They come and they love me while I'm on stage, and then I go and I take the clothes off, and it's just me and the bag of bones, wondering when it'll all be over. Judy Garland said that about her experiences. She was in one of the greatest American films of all time. You remember? What's the name of the movie? The Wizard of Oz? If you knew how many...
I mean, just to cut in there, there's a huge conspiracy around the movie The Wizard of Oz. And it's believed that... I can't even remember exactly how it goes, but a lot of people, when they are going through a traumatic experience, we talked about this before, the concept of dissociation, your brain is kind of like an iceberg. When the conscious part of the brain cannot handle what it's experiencing, it shuts down, leaving the subconscious part of the brain completely open. The conscious part of your brain protects the subconscious. But when you're going through traumatic experiences, your brain, conscious part cannot handle it. So when the subconscious part of the brain is exposed, the personality can be split, and it can also be attached to triggers. This is where we get the concept of the sex kitten. This is where we get the concept of alter egos. And it's not a surprise that why, people like Nicki Minaj allegedly has several alter egos. She has Roman, she has Roman's mother, she has Barbie. At different times she comes off as a different person. Beyonce has Sasha Fierce. You see Rihanna, she was the good girl that went bad. I mean, the amount of celebrities who talk about having an alter ego or a personality, a lot of people have seen the video where Beyonce kind of says, I channel the spirit and I just lift up my hands, and then Sasha Fierce and she shimmies and she just enters. It's like, that's so not what you want to be telling people, because basically you're saying you're demonically possessed. But okay, this is how a lot of artists get their fame. Even Michael Jackson allegedly said that the reason why he would sedate himself is because while he was sleeping, he would get songs. So this concept of going into deep sleep, staring into mirrors, he said he would go into a room full of mirrors and he would speak to Liberace. Liberace was an eccentric homosexual who is deceased. But people who practice the occult, they practice an art called scrying, where they will look into a shiny surface. That's why you often see them talking about, like you'll see images of mystics and they have the crystal ball. This is a form of scrying where you're looking into a smooth surface to actually try to channel demons through the object. A lot of music videos or commercials, what you'll see is the person is talking to their reflection, and after they walk away from the mirror, the reflection remains. This is an allusion to scrying or channeling other spirits through the mirror like a portal. So when she's talking about the different things like orgies and sex parties and people who allegedly go off the rails, a lot of that is to do with the traumatic experiences that they have been through. And as their personality tries to form itself back together, they have breakdowns and all kind of other issues there. So Judy Garland and the whole idea of the shoes, the red shoes, a lot of people say when people dissociate, it's like when they go over the rainbow. This is an expression used to trigger the dissociation, so that whatever's happening, the person is not consciously aware of what's happening to them. And sometimes they maybe will associate going over the rainbow with the image of the red shoes, the ruby slippers. This is why over and over and over again, no matter how many decades it's been now since that movie came out, periodically you will see ruby slippers coming up, somebody wearing them, or they'll do a remake of The Wizard of Oz. It's because they want to keep reinforcing that narrative, that type of programming. So the fact that she mentioned Judy Garland for me was personally quite interesting, because a lot of people have said that it's very clear that although she was a very young child, they put her in very adult roles. And when you see her dancing with adult men, and I'm not demonizing men because this is the industry, there was physical contact that was inappropriate when you looked at it, especially for her height as a child standing beside an adult man, or wearing a dress that's clearly a bit too short at the back, or posing as a prostitute dressed in all the pearls and everything, even though she's like 6. I mean, I don't know how much of what Corey Feldman has said is true, because there's definitely something to it. There's definitely something to what's going on when these children go into the industry, how they're just turned out and pimped out by the industry. What exactly happens, we don't know. But the thing about it is this: people are so desensitized now because we are so sexualized, that even when people come out and say it, and this is the problem with conspiracy theory and the whole quote unquote truth movement. People are so saturated now with the idea of conspiracies that even if they tell you this is what's happening, most people now probably wouldn't bat an eyelid. Because although Jeffrey Epstein has been exposed, we don't even know if he's truly dead. How outraged are people really about pedophile rings? It's like people have come to accept that they exist, to the point where, are people really fighting it? Now, I know in certain places in developing countries where the people are mad about this, they are working on the ground. But the people at the top who are allegedly in these satanic circles, how much of it is going to come to anything? So the only thing we know is what was hidden is coming to light. What you do with that information is kind of up to you. So Nam says, I've heard about this and I believe it's definitely true. There's truth to it. There is truth to it. How much of it? We know MK Ultra was a real program. We know that they were experimenting with drugs. We know that Hitler was very much into Luciferianism, the V sign, or what we call the peace sign. These are all connected to satanic rituals that Hitler himself was into. I mean, I think Hitler was trying to evoke spirits and ghosts at one point to try and win wars. He wasn't playing when it came to Luciferianism. We've talked a little bit about Aleister Crowley and how a lot of these celebrities, Jay-Z's been pictured a couple of times. He's got the infamous picture with him wearing the sweater, do as thou wilt. We can look at that after. And this concept of the hyper love gospel, where people are like, you have to be loving, but that love is not loving of the truth, and it's not loving of what's righteous. It's loving of what is wicked and self-serving. Okay, so Judy Garland was a very big person from mind control. She was somebody who was a child star who maybe endured a lot of abuse in the industry but never spoke about it.
How many times they took a piece out of her while she was going down the yellow big road? She was probably clicking them damn shoes hoping that they worked for real. Or how many young child stars get passed around at parties?
Aaliyah, anybody?
If you actually knew the stories about Michael Jackson. If you actually knew what they do to children. What they did to my very close friend, LaToya Gaines, Rosie Gaines' daughter from New Power Generation. Her and Tevin Campbell were very close. I know Tevin, but we're not friends. Him and LaToya were friends. How does a boy with a voice like that had the records that he had, that could have easily transformed into one of the greatest male vocals of all time, end up prostituting himself for drugs and change on Hollywood Boulevard? How does that happen with a gift like his? My advice to any female who wants to get into this business: have a thick skin, do not drink alcohol, never get high in front of anybody, keep somebody close to you that you know at all times. Summer.
Except Charlemagne the God, because I swear to God, he openly admitted that while this chick was intoxicated on the bed, he started having sex with her. Okay, and while he's in there with the girl, other people are coming in asking, can they have a turn? So, you know, I don't understand why the Breakfast Club keeps coming up through my feed, man. I swear to God, stop recommending the Breakfast Club and stop playing it after my video finishes. Thank you.
Anybody bothered to ask why she all of a sudden became claustrophobic and couldn't perform anymore? Because she had anxiety? Yeah, she got anxiety. Somebody touched her.
Possibly.
I don't know it for a fact, but I heard it I know the sound. I can look in a woman's eyes and tell when she's been touched. She don't trust none of the people that she around, so she just gonna stay off the road, you see. Now, for every name that I can tell you that you know, I can give you about 55 to 1 of all the ones that didn't make it but got the stories. See, those are the worst ones. Because you got ran through, you went through all of that, and then you made it to the deal, and then you ain't get no deal. But you got all the horror stories, though. That's why women in this game go so hard. This is my spot. It's my spot. And it's worse in hip-hop than it is in singing.
Those people ain't playing.
Guard your loins until we find a way to change the way women are treated in this industry. Guard your loins.
That's not going to happen.
Because it doesn't make any sense. If I go to work and I sing my heart out and I do a concert and I got to do the meet and greet and I got to do this and I got to do that and yada, 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 whoopie, whoopie, woo. When I get on my bus, I'm going to be what? I'm going to be tired, right? I'm going to want to get some sleep, right?
Right, exactly.
Am I going to want to see a whole bunch of noise and hear a whole bunch of foolishness? So me walking into a fucking gangbang.
Oh, sorry for the language.
And niggas saying, oh, let me move out the way with your dick in somebody's mouth.
Oh, yeah. Bad
you
language.
You get in your bunk. I don't know whose juice is laying all over this shit.
Oh.
Who the fuck want to deal with that? Really?
Sorry, guys.
Or got to worry about whether or not when I get in my bunk, if somebody's going to climb in my bunk with me. It's the only fucking profession where women can be sexually assaulted and there's nobody to go to, because whoever they would go to would rather make the money than do what's right. That's how R. Kelly became R. Kelly. Okay.
So this is what everybody obviously knows already. R. Kelly didn't work alone. Even the stories years ago, and I stopped listening to R. Kelly with the whole, tape that came out with him and the little girl in the urine. All right. But I hear that it's like more than 20 years, well, it's more than 20 years now, but even then it was 20 years, 25 years. He was going around trying to get young girls to be with. And I'm not justifying what R. Kelly did. As I've said so many times before, the first victim in the R. Kelly case was R. Kelly because of the negligence. He was victimized twice by two different people. One was a female. So this idea that only men can be predators and only females can be victims is obviously erroneous. Somebody says here in the comment section, I think Jaguar is determined to get the truth out regardless of any cost. She has a brave and fearless spirit that not many of us can claim. Well, it's safe to say it now. The internet is saturated with these stories. So even if she were to name names, I was looking for a particular video, and this was one of the videos that said a lot of these C-list and D-list celebrities once they're not making any money for the industry, they end up just going into prostitution. Now, the thing about it is this: the other reason why I believe that there's truth to these stories is because I'm just not scrolling through. We see Erica Badu, who is a proud witch. Who else? Azalea Banks and her whole brujeria video. I don't know how many people have seen that, but she literally has an area in her basement where she kind of tiled in a corner, and she says she slaughters chickens there and does, brujeria, santeria in her basement. And after years and years of offering animals in a ritualistic sacrifice, she then, had to clean it off, and that's what the video was. So as much as we like to say, oh, you're clutching at straws, these people are just, creative. No, some of them really are into the occult. And now that the occult has been normalized and made to feel like it's no big deal, it's just another type of religion, we're moving into that time where, Christians and Jews are already some of the most persecuted people on the earth anyway. But it's going to become worse for people who actually do believe in the Bible or say they're Christians and things like that, because the persecution against anything Judeo-Christian is going to start getting a lot worse. Not because people want to do what they want to do. And somebody saying that you cannot do this because it's against the Bible is going to become an outlawed thing. So there was another video that I watched by this lady. I'm glad somebody is not afraid to talk about this. That's what another comment says. I mean, people have been talking about this for a long time, but there hasn't really been a lot of proof that these people are engaging in a lot of these things. And I want to believe it because I want to believe that she's really exposing something, but she's exposing it when it's already been exposed. Maya said herself that when you're in the industry, even as a 17-year-old, she had to guard herself a lot, even from people like Jay-Z, who was hitting on her a lot. And she had to be tough and tell guys no all the time because they were just coming at her all the time. So this isn't bitterness, it's conviction. She had to speak and heal herself. This is why I don't respect rappers. I'm not a fan of athletes, because when people talk about selling their soul to make that money, this is not just an expression. This is not just an expression. They really are signing their name in blood. Was it Russell Simmons' nephew or one of them? He did a video saying people practicing the occult and New Age. For example, Russell Simmons having a shrine to the Hindu god Kali in his basement. Kali is a Hindu goddess of death. Well, some say it's death, some say it's rebirth. And allegedly, the story goes that when people would go to ask Kali for protection or for her not to destroy them, there would be thugs that would wait, and people would bring diamonds, precious stones, and jewelry, metals, and things like this as an appeasement to this Hindu god. And as these people would go to pay homage, they would be beaten up by thugs, and the thugs would hide the jewels in their mouth. So some people say this is where the concept of the grill, and a lot of people who wear like a lot of jewelry, they're always talking about jewelry, and they have a lot of the metal in their mouth. It's like homage to this god. And this is where the pose where you see a lot of women, they really long the tongue out to the point where it's like they're trying to make the tip of the tongue touch the chin. It's like sticking that tongue up, but not straight. Having it down is like an allusion to Kali, because a lot of these people, they're into the New Age, they're into Eastern arts, they're into all kinds of various forms of witchcraft. Obviously, a lot of people have heard about the Kardashian curse. Like any man that falls in their clutches, he doesn't do very well. And a lot of people think that the witches are people who are dressed in black and they've got a cat and a wart on their nose with a cloak. A lot of the time, the people who are the heaviest into the occult just look like regular people. But when they go home, they're trying to evoke spirits, and they're trying to use their bodies in different ways in order to channel demons. So when I watched this video, it wasn't so much new information. I'm trying to find, where's that place? Let's find the video that I watched. So this one is a gentleman,
Like if I see that,
Jay
out, yo.
Marvelous.
You under control
Again,
of
this is Jaguar Wright talking about allegedly people in the music industry practicing black magic.
She wasn't really a one-hit wonder. She just came out with, you know.
Reached out to him, you know, but me and Han was talking, and see, there's two sides to the Malik story. They're the press releases, and they're the truth. And we're like, yo, we got to get to the truth. And then I talked to Ursula Rucker, and she's like, yo, we got to get to the truth.
This is 22 minutes long, and I haven't watched all of it, but
Kindred Family Souls, like, we got to get to the truth. I shouldn't have to explain to anybody how awesome. Everybody should know how awesome he is. I sat here with the kids that came through last night for the cipher. And I had to explain to them and show them who Malik B is. Like, I shouldn't have to do that, man. It militant needed no explanation, you know? My first experience with the Roots was at the jam sessions.
okay.
Or at you know, at the big, you know, when Philly used the people that I bang with in my family, definitely music. You know, my respect for God goes beyond all of that, which was why it was hard. Leaving Richard Nichols, I'm a Christian.
I mean, you can't really be a Christian in the industry. You just can't, because your entire paycheck is wrapped up on doing what they tell you to do.
It's the only reason I walked away from Rich. And that goddamn pumpkin that I found in his room that night. I you know, no disrespect to nobody's religion, but you know, I got all kinds of mixed stuff in my blood, and I'm gonna tell you right now, you call it Santeria, you call it whatever you want to call it. If I start seeing stuff that looks like people got chicken bones in a closet somewhere and making all kinds of bad prayers, like if I see that, I'm out, yo. You under control of something else. You under control of a spirit that's not here, or at least not where I'm trying to be in here. You know, when you are the smartest man in the world and you don't realize you're being manipulated by black magic, that doesn't sound like that person can keep you safe either. It really doesn't. It just doesn't. I told niggas from the second I seen that damn pumpkin, I was like, yeah, this shit gonna be short-lived with us. There's an end to our rule. Oh yeah. I don't need it. I got people that I'm related to that's in all that crazy stuff, you know, messing around with blood and magic, brick dust and stuff like that. No. I asked him what the pumpkin was for. He told me the pumpkin was for posterity. I was like, nigga, I think you got gas. I see pubic hair in there. There's some kind of hair in there. I don't know what the fuck's going on in there, but there's some hair going on in there. And they be like, oh, Jag, stop being so, don't be like that. It's just this. It's just that, you know. You can put syrup on shit all day long, motherfucker. You won't make it pancakes. I promise you, it will never become pancakes. You know that some people so desperately need their careers acknowledged. Some people so desperately need to be a part of the game that they're willing to overlook all kinds of things. Which is why my favorite scripture is the scripture that my father gave me. My father actually told me, Norman Wright Sr. told me, you're going to need this scripture because in the business that you chose to be in, it's going to be your everyday life. See, for they will not believe the truth. I will send them strong delusion and allow them to believe a lie. See, because they don't want to believe the truth. Because they want to be on TV so bad.
You see, the truth that she's talking about in part is to do with this idea that Lucifer was actually the chief musician in heaven. There's a scripture that talks about how he was covered in tabrets, which is like, I believe it's like a pipe instrument, and that he had the ability to sing. He was like the second in command to God. So when he was cast down to heaven from heaven, he still had the ability to make music. And because music is such it can change your mood, it can get deep down into your subconscious. Obviously, people don't listen to songs once, they listen to them over and over, which is a form of channeling or chanting. And so the music industry is a perfect way to send messages to people, because once they get that track in their head, even if you don't buy it, the fact that you're being repetitively, and that's the easiest form of mind control. Repetition is the easiest form of mind control. All you have to do is have something repeated to you over and over again, and you'll start to absorb it into your subconscious. And Russell Wilson's nephews allegedly came out years ago. They're in a group called the Frontliners, where they allege that
first of all, we come from hip hop.
They were kind of into bringing satanic themes into hip hop, but then at the same time, it's like they were told the hip hop industry is not ready for you to bring those themes yet. This is why a lot of people talk about Jay-Z allegedly being a 33rd degree Freemason. I don't know if that video is still up online, but there was an awesome breakdown by a brother called Forerunner 777, and he was basically saying that if you look at the album covers of Jay-Z, you can see his progress to the 3rd degree of Freemasonry. And as I did the video recently, how he allegedly is partnered with Long Island University to offer scholarships and university degrees and things like that. Once you get to the 3rd degree of Freemasonry, you can then join an organization known as the Shriners. And Shriners are all about fun. They are a branch of Freemasonry, but all the Freemasons are into charitable giving, but they run hospitals and they love working with children. So it doesn't surprise me that Jay-Z is going to now attach himself to the youth scene, that he's allegedly reached that 3rd degree. The thing about it is this: a lot of people will look at what people like Jay-Z is doing. At the beginning of the year, T.I. allegedly paid for was it a child's lunch money for the whole year. A lot of people will look at the philanthropic behavior of celebrities and assume that because they do charitable work, that they are decent people. But I mean, outside of their persona, let's say it like that, they may be decent people, but at the end of the day, you are a property of your contract. The people who you sign that contract to, they own you. And the people who owns them, you don't want to know them. Because if they truly are into the occult, a lot of people allege, or there's allegedly a book written by one of the top Freemasons, Albert Pike, and he states it in this book allegedly, that the great architect of Freemasonry is Satan. Because for people who worship Satan, they still call him by his name Lucifer, which means light bearer. For them, they believe that Satan is the hero and the God of the Bible is the villain. Because when God said to Eve, do not eat of the fruit, or Adam, the day you eat of it, you will die. Because God didn't specify it was spiritual death and then physical death, this is where the concept of the expression born again comes from. It's not physical birth, it's birth from the Spirit of God. That he lied to Adam and Eve in order to hide something that they deserved from them. And so for Freemasons, Luciferians, people in the Illuminati, for them, Satan is a good person, because he actually told them the truth that God was keeping something from them. So this is why Jay-Z had a whole song called Lucifer. There are numerous songs out here dedicated to the devil. And when you look at his album covers, it allegedly charts his progress from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd degree, through the title, through the color, through the fact that he has his hat pulled down over his eyes, which is a sign that he rejects the light of the Bible to turn to Luciferian light. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. it would take me a lot to go through it all. But as you can see, even the fact that she's talking about the pumpkin, a lot of people maybe don't realize that the reason why at Halloween you would put pumpkins out is because it was believed that that was the most satanic day of the year. And to ward off demonic spirits, people would put skulls outside with a candle inside. And as times became more civilized, people didn't, it wasn't appropriate to put the skull. So instead, they found the pumpkin and they would carve the face into it and still put the candle. So when she says it's Santeria, a lot of the traditions we have been adapted from the occult. And this is why the 60s wasn't just a sexual revolution, it was also a spiritual revolution where New Age and Eastern arts became normalized and mainstream in the West. And there was also a lot of, blasphemy against the Christian faith. You had a lot of tearing down of preachers. You had a lot of people challenging the church openly. And you also had the drugs also being normalized. It's going back to that same thing of sex, drugs, rock and roll. The three work together because you're using drugs in order to channel spirits. You're also using deep meditation, chanting. You can't go anywhere today without seeing yoga. Yoga has become like the new religion. And anything that suppresses your conscious mind so that you can be a vessel open to be taken over by another spirit, and that includes martial arts, I don't support. Okay? There are people who have said that they used to do martial arts and they found that when they couldn't do the arts unless they kind of psych themselves up in a certain spiritual way, and then it's like a power would come on them. So I can't tell people what to do, but I personally wouldn't advise people to engage in martial arts or Eastern arts like yoga or deep meditation, the New Age. Obviously, drugs have become a common part of life. There's a reason why in the music industry we're talking about lean, we're talking about Percocets, we're talking about mixing all kind of drugs together to make all kind of syrups, or whatever. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But there's a reason, because in their world, that's how they get in contact with the demons that give them the songs that they then turn into music. So
because they don't believe the truth, because they want to stand next to the nigga that's standing next to the nigga on TV so bad. Hi, Yamin.
You see, so when they talk about they give reverence to God, they don't specify which God, because are you talking about you as a God, or are you talking about Satan? Because for them, Satan is God. They'll often say we're Christians, but even to be a Freemason, you have to believe in a God, because allegedly you would have to denounce God. So it's hard for you to denounce somebody that you do not believe in. And Freemasonry is an ecumenical movement, meaning that all religions worship together. And that's where we're at now. A lot of the times you're going to see meetings more and more where they're pushing for people of all faiths to worship together. And that's because when it comes to the time of the Antichrist or the end, everybody is going to be called to worship the one leader, the one world leader. And so this is kind of like eschatology. This is Bible. Is there really a gay mafia in the the music industry? It's all going on. It's all going on. But at the end of the day, when the Antichrist comes, all people will be expected to worship him and pay homage to him in some shape or form. And so the way that you do that is by gradually normalizing all kinds of faiths coming together. And then if you are somebody who says, no, I do not believe in all faiths coming together because maybe on the surface we have things in common, but we are different, you will be labeled as a hater, a domestic terrorist, a threat to peace and things like this. So the music industry for Black people is rap, because obviously a lot of the beats and the drums and drum and bass and things like that were taken from African beats. So black people will gravitate towards that the way white people gravitated towards rock and roll. So when she says they worship God but they don't want the truth she's talking about is the truth that we find in the scripture of the Bible. Oh my God.
Love you. But
She's
you
doing a
already know
live,
what it is.
so
I heard about some of the stuff you're doing up there, and I understand you're working with these mumble rappers, and I understand you're doing that, but as much history and hip hop as you got in you, shame on you for mumbling with them.
Alright, so yeah, I'm pretty sure y'all heard everything she said, and what she was referring to, and that's real talk. A lot of them in that business is atheists, you know what I mean? That's why I stopped dealing with the 5%ers as well. Because if you believe in yourself to be a God, then that means you don't believe in God.
I think the 5%ers are the group that say black man is God.
There's no mystery God in the sky. This is what they tell you. There's no mystery God in the sky. You are God. Now, that could be true to an extent, but then at some point you have to know that your creator had placed you here. You didn't just pop up out of nowhere. I'm sorry about that, y'all. So there's questions that we all have to ask ourselves before being involved in certain things and just jumping in it. You know what I'm saying? So I'll give y'all a little brief detail on what I've been through. So basically, I was working at UMG, like I said, for 9 months, right? And I left there. I started working there, I think maybe February or March, and I left there in December. My last day working there was December 24th.
Are we in October?
Well, I was invited.
Satanic high holiday coming up, Halloween.
Now, if you know UMG, if you know where the building is, around the corner there's a McDonald's.
My mother wouldn't let me celebrate Halloween, but where she failed is I don't know, maybe she didn't know, but she definitely didn't explain to me why. And I remember one time going out, and that's why children dress up in costumes. The concept of the Halloween costume is that people would dress up like ghouls because they didn't want to be attacked by ghouls. They believe that if these spirits that come through the portal, because what Satanists believe is there are certain days in the year where the physical and the spiritual realm are close, or the veil is at its thinnest, meaning it's easier for spirits to cross over. And so Halloween is one of those satanic high holidays. To protect themselves, apart from all the other things that they were doing, they said, if the demons are walking around amongst us, we don't want them to attack us. So we will disguise ourselves like demons too. This is where the concept of wearing costumes and going door to door trick or treating and the putting out of the candle and appeasing these ghouls that come to the door with sweets, this is where that tradition comes from. And so for people, I went to I was somewhere. I was in central London. I passed a bookshop, and the bookshop has got esoteric books. So the shop caught my eye because there were Masonic books in the window. But when I realized, it's like when I peered in, I realized they're not just Masonic books. There's books on the occult and all kinds of different things in that shop. And it was dark. It was like 7 o'clock. There's a woman standing outside and the shop is shut. And I was looking at her and I thought to myself, I wonder what's going on here. So I kind of pretended like I was looking through the window and I was like, oh, wow, interesting bookshop, And she's like, yes, I'm waiting to go to a party. And then somebody appeared from the back of the shop, opened the door, she went in and they locked it back again. And I said, I wouldn't be surprised, if you lot are doing some kind of rituals and orgies down there, because it's nighttime, it's secret gathering. I don't think you're knitting. I don't care. It's just, you'd be surprised the number of people who For example, Haiti. A lot of people in Haiti are Catholic, but as they leave the Catholic Church, they have no problem going to the fetish priest after. The market actually has entire stalls full of bones, monkey bones, skulls, you name it, things to grind, powder, herbs, you name it. People are out here trying to contact the demons. Whether we want to accept it, whether we believe it or not, there's too much going on for it all to just be pure coincidence. So this brother's going to talk about his experience. One of the first things I remember watching a long time ago was a young man. He said he had a promising music career, and one day his producer turned around and said to him, "I love you. Can I have sex with you, man to man?" And he was like, he said, "I love you." And the guy said, "You know, I love you too, man." Like, he's like, "No, I mean, I love you, and I want to make love to you." And it's like there's rumors that a lot of these boy bands, these young guys, have been turned out by their producers. Again, Quincy Jones and a number of other people. I'm not going to necessarily call names, but Corey Feldman claims that there's a huge problem of pedophilia in the entertainment industry, child actors, child actresses being passed around. Something is going on out there. Something is going on out there.
And across the street from that McDonald's, and in the back of UMG, there's Chipotle and there's a bar.
Never had Chipotle.
Now, I ain't gonna lie, there was a woman in there that I liked. She was like, "Yeah, I'm going. You going?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right." You know, it was a good chance to mingle. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I took it upon myself to go, and you know, there was some higher ups in there, and what's so crazy is that I don't know if I should tell y'all this shit, but fuck it, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I don't hold no punches, man, and I'm not afraid of nobody or no one. You understand what I'm saying? Let's just say Liz, right? Liz, Joni, and Michelle, right? Three older women. Mind you, they're all single. They don't have no man. You know what I'm saying? They all single women. And it was.
Oh, I turned off the video. This one is Russell Simmons.
As many people probably know, or for those who don't know, my name is Jamel Simmons. My uncle is Russell Simmons. My other uncle is Run DMC. But the first person that took interest in the group, the Flatliners, was my uncle Jam Master, who I call my uncle Jam Master J. So, you know what I'm saying? We came in right after Onyx came in. We came in with Onyx. It was part of something called the Official Nasty Niggas. Us, Onyx, a dude named Joe Sinister, and a group called The Family. So,
I mean, just to say, there's a reason why Biggie called Junior Mafia Clique 3-6 Mafia. Okay, the fact that he divided Junior Mafia into 3 groups and he labeled each section a 6. So when the whole thing was together, is 666. The idea of satanic themes in the hip hop industry has been present for a long time. Like if you break down the symbolism, there's too many incidences for it all to just be coincidence. So that just reminds me, and again, we're out here I mean, I'm not going to say like I'm not appalled by what, but it's been a slow, gradual decline in morality to the point where, you know, when I break down the video a little bit, I'll just say, you know, this is more than just women singing about female empowerment.
So then after that, my uncle Russell seen that we seen the success that Onyx had, and they seen us as the natural evolution of what was next after Onyx. So then Russell and Def Jam jumped in on
You see, I don't know how long I've been rambling, but I was talking about Marina Abramovich. So these guys who were the nephews of Russell Simmons said that they were trying to highlight the themes of the occult that are in everyday life. And this is something that I believe is truly happening. Like the concepts that the signs and symbols that are associated with the occult. That's a lot of S's for somebody who struggles to pronounce the S sound. Um, they are becoming more common. Pyramids with eyes, um, the peace sign. How? What else? Triangles. I mean, Lady Gaga is one of the. She's one of the forerunners. I mean, she was in an interview once, and while she was kind of joking, like, "Oh my gosh," she was like, "I swear to Lucifer." Like instead of saying, "I swear to God," she's like, "I swear to Lucifer." You know, it's like they know what they're doing when they bring these satanic themes. There is a Chipotle place that I know of, but I've never actually been there. I do need to try it, but let's see. Let's see what it is like. I don't mind. I like trying new food. But Marina Abramovich, let me see if I can find the recipe for the spirit cooking because let's play this video while I look for it.
Left in the dark.
This is Russell Simmons.
And don't have any knowledge. Do you think that maybe that negative light was cast on you because it was reflecting on what was going on within Def Jam, maybe?
Well, that negative light was cast upon us because all of those entities of commercialism are used by disagreeable beings in order to promote their agenda. So Def Jam, nonetheless. Let's look at the name of it, Def Jam. I mean, come on. Even though you have what's called intonation. Intonation means, first of all, it's a spell. What does a spell mean? How you spell things. How you spell things and how you say things equates to a spell. So when you hear the word deaf, I'm saying, even though they trick you and spell it D-E-F, what are you actually hearing? You're actually hearing the intonation, which is the important part of death. So what are we talking about? We're talking about Def Jam, or jams that are about death and killing, which is basically, if you listen to the shit that came out of Def Jam, is about killing, you know what I'm saying, and selling drugs and killing and fucking demoralizing women and breaking apart the family structure and all of those different things that we see was brought in with that wave of music, and Def Jam was at the forefront of that. I mean, it's undeniable. I mean, is it called Def Jam or is it not? Is it
later on,
death or is it not?
Right, and later on, look who's spearheaded it now. You got Jay-Z, who, I mean, all you gotta do is just type in Jay-Z occult on YouTube, and 1,000 videos will pop up. I imagine. You know,
but again, these dudes, what I've come to learn during my tenure of being involved is that these dudes is nothing more than they're not the ones who call the shots. They don't call any shots. They just play their parts. Just like the president don't call no shot. Any president, whether it be a president of the United States or Jay-Z, the president of Def Jam, or president of a company, a president does not come into a company and change what the company is about. The president is hired so that he can implement what the company is about better. That's it.
Bigger corporate interests, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Just like the puppet government of the United States. They answer to the big corporations, the billionaires, the elite. Yeah, I feel you. Man, it's real shit.
So that's just you guys understand that the music is just used to control masses of people. That's all.
We're gonna go off in another track, but I just want to ask you this though: with bringing all this to light, do you ever? I mean, do you still talk to your uncle Russell or Run? I mean, is there any kind of relationship at all between?
There's a relationship. I just seen him not too long ago. But again, I chose a different path in life, so it's kind of like I separated myself from that. For obvious reason, because if you ain't a part of that movement, then you know what I'm saying, you're gonna be ostracized anyway. And just rather than not even deal with all that, I just chose to separate myself. Still my family, my CMA, how you doing? You know what I'm saying, what's going on? How's the family doing? But as far as
but he knows how to keep his distance because he wants to live.
I'm trying to pursue that life because it's a lie. It's a lie. I'm here to tell you from coming into that world and being a part of it and working in Def Jam and being an artist on Def Jam. They got millions of kids to be these artists.
makes the earphones that has.
Okay, so a lot of people have heard about the concept of spirit cooking. And this came out with the whole WikiLeaks thing, and this is what I'm going to pretty much end with because I got to run. And Marina Abramovich, who is a disciple of Aleister Crowley, who labeled himself the Beast, allegedly he went on a number of trips to channel different types of strong demons. I think he wrote, I don't know if he wrote the Satanic Bible, but he definitely wrote books on sex magic. And this is the recipe for spirit cooking. And it says here, saliva of your lover mixed with morning dew collected from the eucalyptus leaves. Cut a knife deeply into the middle finger of the left hand and eat the pain. And it says here, to the right hand side under spirit cooking, mix fresh breast milk with fresh sperm and drink. Okay. So there was a mixture of breast milk. I think it was sweat. I don't know if it was urine, blood, and semen, or it was like milk, sperm, urine, and semen. And some years back, Lady Gaga actually brought out a fragrance, and in the fragrance there was traces of the odor of blood and semen. And there have been numerous pictures of Lady Gaga with Marina Abramovich. I don't know if this video is going to stay up because these people, they're really on people's tail. But I don't know. Where am I? There are numerous pictures of Marina Abramovich with Lady Gaga, and how, you know, and even Jay-Z. In fact, a lot of celebrities have been pictured with Marina. I mean, there's the infamous picture of, you know, her. Don't do this to me, please. I don't care. I do not accept. I'm tired of you asking me, do I accept? As if I can look at the thing without accepting. Okay, a lot of people have talked about this idea, the normalization of the image, the idea of cannibalism. Obviously, the satanic baptism is in pig's blood. So when you see the bath, it represents the Baphomet or the goat of Mendes, but also it represents the concept of satanic baptism, where they go into the bathtub. Obviously, not all videos can depict somebody in a pool of blood, but obviously Eminem was once depicted in but you know what I mean. A lot of people have seen this. I mean, if you just Google images of celebrities in the bathtub, I mean, there's too many, and for people to say there's nothing going on, there has to be something going on. Okay, so oh wait, did I pick the wrong picture? Did you guys see that? Let's close this screen. So again, if you see people in the bathtub, that's what it represents. Initiation into the occult and taking that satanic oath. But obviously, you cannot always depict a person in blood. Obviously, Eminem is a controversial figure, so no one would really bat an eyelid for the most part seeing him in a pool of blood or a bathtub full of blood. But the average artist will not do that. But they will depict themselves in a regular bathtub or a pool, and it's them saying to the people, I've initiated myself into the occult. There are a number of things here that, you know, I'm going to link all the videos in the description. Shout out to everybody who came through, because with me playing the video, I don't know how they're going to feel about the copyright. But this whole thing with Jaguar Wright, the music business is not really to be played with. We're talking now a lot about drill music. We're talking about rap. This is just the next phase. The culture, it hasn't changed. These themes were always there, but now they're just mainstream. We're becoming more desensitized to evil. We're becoming more aware. We're becoming less aware, even though it's more prevalent, because we've been so saturated with it for so long, that this is why even the scripture says in the last days, if God doesn't shorten the days, no one would be saved. Because to be honest with you, it's like, oh, so and so is sleeping with so and so. Oh, this person maybe was killed. Oh, oh, Jeffrey Epstein's got an island and he's doing, well, we knew these people were a bit funny. Everybody's just becoming apathetic because we're just being ground down constantly with wickedness. And it's hard to stay, it's not hard to stay fired up, but you have to stay fired up to just say, I'm not going to get carried away in the current. And the biggest thing is, we know Black people are the biggest consumers of TV and entertainment, and they roll out these celebrities all the time in order to influence Black people. But these people, that's why I say every time, they are bought and paid for. They cannot be trusted. And we love them, we wish them the best. But at the end of the day, they're not your friend. When they strip off at night and they're on their own, that's why they're drinking. That's why they're taking the drugs, because they want to forget the things that they do in order to be the success that you think and I think, or how they present themselves to be. And it is sad, but it's better to not gain the world and lose your soul. And that's what a lot of these people are doing. The whole culture, prostitution, OnlyFans culture, what culture, your normalization of drink and drugs. People are literally selling out their soul for basic fame, fortune, and a little bit of clout. So that's all I've got for this one. I will link the videos in the description. If it has like no views, it got blocked for copyright reasons. And you can just check that content out for yourself. I wouldn't advise anyone to go into the music industry because it's just too dark. I mean, even if there's no Satanism, there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of problems. I mean, how many people need to die for us to understand that this is not just about making music? There's something. I mean, Sammy Davis Jr., as much as people like him and think he's an old-time black and white movie star, he was connected to the Church of Satan. He was friends with Anton LaVey. So I'm not hating on celebrities. They don't have anything I want. I want to sleep easy at night, something that a lot of them have not experienced for a long time. So I really appreciate everybody who came through. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Share this video with somebody who needs to see it. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.